Good morning, welcome to Catex TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Thursday, January 29th, 2015. If you're interested in following us on Twitter, go to Catex TV. Malaysia declared this morning the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 to be an accident. This is the missing airliner that apparently went thousands of miles off course on its way from Malaysia to Beijing. The announcement by Malaysia now paves the way for the airline to begin to pay compensation to victims' relatives. The search, of course, is going to continue to go on. The plane disappeared in March of last year, carrying 239 passengers and crew. The announcement said as follows: "We officially declare Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 to be an accident, that all 239 passengers and crew on board the plane are presumed to have lost their lives. This now allows passengers to obtain assistance through compensation. Malaysia Airlines is ready to act immediately with the compensation process to the next of kin of the passengers of the flight." Most of the passengers were from China. Chinese are calling on the Malaysians to begin to start payment immediately. Meanwhile, in the Air Asia flight, the cockpit has been raised to the water level. It's on a salvage ship. It seems as if the co-pilot was at the controls when the flight went down. More information will be forthcoming on that. A second earthquake has struck the United Kingdom in 2 days. This one was last night actually, at 10:25 p.m. It was a 3.8. It occurred in the East Midlands. It comes after an earthquake on Tuesday of 2.9 striking Winchester. So this is a little bit of shaking in the central part of the United Kingdom there in England. Meanwhile, just after 1 o'clock yesterday, about 40 miles southwest of Eureka, California, under the Pacific Ocean and right on the San Andreas Fault, there was a 5.7 earthquake. It's very interesting. It didn't cause any damage or injuries, but it did create a lot of rattling. And as I mentioned, it is right on the fault. So seismologists are looking at this very carefully. In Winnipeg, up in Canada, in Manitoba, some 700,000 people are under an advisory to boil their tap water for fear of a possible E. coli virus contamination. It's not a mandatory advisory. However, the mayor has warned people that it would be prudent of them to do so. Tests were conducted again last night. At some point today, the city is going to advise as to whether or not the water is safe to drink. This is the first time this has happened in Winnipeg. The German Vice Chancellor, Sigmar Gabriel, who is also the finance minister, had a couple of remarks earlier today. He said the new Greek government cannot make dramatic changes to its economic policy and expect other European states to foot the bill. He said, of course, every democracy must accept a democratic decision by the Greek people, just as it must accept the right of the new Greek government to set a new course. But it is, of course, also the case that the citizens of Europe must be able to expect that changes in Greek policy will not be made to their detriment. Germany expects Greece to stick to its commitments for fiscal and economic reform made as part of the massive $269 billion bailout, of which Germany was the main contributor. Yesterday, the newly elected Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras, in a public speech, said that he's intent upon renegotiating the debt, and that there must be a humanitarian disaster that's going to have to be averted. As he was speaking, the Greek stock market plunged more than 9%. Major banks tumbled by about a quarter. The German finance minister said, "I will encourage Tsipras to finally ask the billionaires, the Greek billionaires, who stashed their money abroad to pay their taxes to Greece. It can be done quickly, and this will help the EU in fighting tax evasion, and that's surely easier than the price of a write-down." German unemployment fell to its lowest rate since the reunification of East Germany and West Germany back in 1990. It's now down to about 6.5%. This suggests that Europe's largest economy is well placed now to benefit from lower oil prices, as well as the reduced interest rates just brought about by the European Central Bank's stimulus efforts. The number of Germans unemployed fell 9,000 after seasonal variations in the data following a 25,000 person drop in December. More bad news for the oil industry workers and suppliers. Royal Dutch Shell has joined the ranks of energy companies who are slashing spending. Shell said it's scaling back its planned capital investment by $15 billion over the next 3 years. The price of oil has now dropped from $100 a barrel this summer down to $45 a barrel. An analyst at IG in London described the Shell cuts as enormous, saying the move signals cautious times ahead. A number of other oil companies and oil suppliers have also cut. BHP Billiton announced this month that it's cutting its U.S. onshore rig operations by about 40%. Schlumberger said that they're laying off 9,000 workers, and the French oil giant Total is apparently also slashing capital spending by 10% this year. Air Force One is an iconic means of transportation for the American president. There's actually two of them, two Boeing 747-200s that the president uses. One is a backup. The plane is nearing the end of its useful life, and apparently by 2020 it will have reached 30 years of operation. And Boeing put out an RFP mandating that a four-engine plane be tendered as a possible alternative. And of course, the only American supplier of a four-engine plane is Boeing with the 747. So it was no surprise yesterday that the Air Force picked the Boeing 747-800 airliner to replace the two current Boeing 747-200s. Boeing apparently has been keeping the 747 line open in the possibility that would win this contract. They're down to production of about 1.3 planes a month from 1.5 earlier, actually in mid-year last year. Boeing did not get any orders for the 747s last year. This is despite a record of 1,432 net orders for other commercial aircraft through its other divisions. So we may be seeing the end of the 747, although with the price of cheap oil now, maybe it'll be back on the market. The plane retails for about $325 million if you have some spare change. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.